the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2, in conjunction with Colfax High School, presents Viking Pregame. A look at today's Colfax Vikings boys game. And now, Viking Pregame.
Good evening and welcome to the NLWN2 studios. Rick Olson here, and tonight the 8-14 Colfax Vikings, who are 5-8 in the Dunn-St. Croix Conference, have journeyed east to Wausau and are getting ready to take on the Wausau East Lumberjacks, who are 8-3 and tied for second place in the Wisconsin Valley Conference, as well as 16-6 overall. The Vikings are looking to bounce back following their disappointing loss to the Glenwood City Hilltoppers 76-44 back on Friday. Now, Wausau East is coming off a high-scoring 86-72 loss to Waupun also on Friday. Now, in tonight's edition of Viking Pregame, we'll take a look at tonight's matchup between the Wausau East Lumberjacks and the Colfax Vikings. Then we'll get Viking head coach Mark Noel's outlook on tonight's game. Following that, even though this is a non-conference game, we'll take a quick look at where things stand in the Dunn-St. Croix Conference heading into the final week of conference play. Then our broadcast crew will bring you all the play-by-play action of tonight's game. So it's time to get ready for some exciting high school boys basketball. All that coming up right after this brief timeout. You're tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
Ready!
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
Helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back to Viking Pregame, where we're getting ready to bring you all the action of tonight's game with a non-conference matchup between the Wausau East Lumberjacks and the Colfax Vikings. The 8-14 Vikings, who are 5-8 in the Dunn-St. Croix, are hoping to bounce back and build a little confidence and momentum for the WIAA Regionals following their 76-44 loss to the Glenwood City Hilltoppers last Friday. Now, the Lumberjacks are sitting at 16-6 overall, as well as 8-3 in the Wisconsin Valley Conference, and are currently tied with Stevens Point, or Spash, for second place in their conference. In the Viking effort against the Glenwood City Hilltoppers, the Vikings fell behind early and had a tough night shooting and just couldn't catch up to the Hilltoppers. They were led in scoring by 5'9" senior Elijah Ensminger, who hit on 8 field goals, including 3 three-pointers, and went 2 for 2 from the free throw line for 21 points. He was followed a ways back by 6-foot junior Aiden Fisher, who hit on 2 field goals and went 1 for 3 from the charity stripe for 5 points. No other Vikings scored over 3 points. Now, the Wausau East Lumberjacks are sitting at 8-3 in the Wisconsin Valley Conference, as well as 16-6 overall. The Lumberjacks are coming off an 86-72 loss to the Waupun Warriors last Friday. Now, so far this season, Wausau East is being led in scoring by 6'6" junior Charlie Kaley, who's shooting 54% from the floor, including 25% from beyond the three-point arch, and 72% from the free throw line, while averaging over 14 points per game. He's followed by 6-foot senior Caden Worth, who's hitting on 49% from the floor, including 37% from three-point land, as well as 69% from the charity stripe, while averaging 10 points per game. 6-foot junior Jaden Garrett is also contributing 9 points per game. On the boards, Kaylee and junior Jesse Netgizik lead the Lumberjacks by pulling down around 10 and 4 rebounds per game, respectively. Now, thus far this season, the Vikings are being led in scoring by 5'9" senior Elijah Ensminger, who's averaging over 17 points per game. Aiden Fisher is also scoring in double digits with an average of 14 points per game. Eli Ralph, Blake Johnson, and Mason Yarrington are also contributing right around 5 points per game each. Now leading the way rebounding for the Vikings is Fisher, who's grabbing over 6 boards per game, with Eli Ralph grabbing over 4. Coming up next, following this timeout, we'll get the coach's perspective as we chat with Viking head coach Mark Knoll on Coach's Corner. You're tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2.
Here's Grandma Florence after that flood wiped out the whole neighborhood. Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Your family is your legacy. Planning for a natural disaster will make sure you're all safe. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today.
Time now to see what the coaches have to say. It's Coach's Corner, where they look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. And now, Coach's Corner.
Once again on Coach's Corner, we're talking with Viking boys head coach Mark Knoll. And Coach, tonight the Vikings have made the journey east to take on the Wausau East Lumberjacks. But before we get to that, let's take a real quick look back at Friday, where the Vikings dropped a game to the Glenwood City Hilltoppers. Your thoughts about that game?
Well, in the first half, we were competing and we were down by 5 at halftime, but I could just tell that we just weren't playing well, and we just didn't have our mojo, whatever you want to call it. We just weren't playing well. And in the second half, I give Glenwood City credit. They came out, they had more energy than we did, and being at home, maybe that's the difference. They had their fans behind them, and they came out and played really hard and it felt like every shot that they took. And we did the opposite of that. We had a hard time putting the ball in the basket, and then eventually it got to be the point where I just decided let's just go ahead and play let's just play everybody.
Well, it seemed as though Glenwood City did some things, especially in the second half, that frustrated the Vikings. And the more frustrated the Vikings became, the tougher making shots and being in the right place at the right time became, which led to being even more frustrated, and the whole thing snowballed. Your thoughts about that?
Well, I felt like we were getting shots that we, didn't mind getting, right? We got the shots that we wanted. We just couldn't make them. So that was where the frustration came from. Wasn't 100% on what they were doing. It was more on us and that what we weren't doing. We weren't making shots. We were getting shots, and I thought getting good looks, we just couldn't make them.
Well, that's a good one to get out of your system, and tonight we'll find out how far out of your system it is, because the Vikings are going to take on a tough Wausau East Lumberjack team in a non-conference game. What can you tell us about the Lumberjacks?
Well, they've got this Cayley kid on the inside that's a monster. He's a big kid. I don't know how he looks like. He's about 6'7", 270, something like 250. Big, strong kid. We're gonna have our hands full with him, and then they've got lots of guards on the outside that can all make plays. They got a number 1 seed in Division II, so they're one of the top 4 teams in the state in Division II. And playing them on their court, it's going to be more than our hands are full. So it's going to be the biggest task that we're going to have all year. But at the same time, we have nothing to lose, and this game is meaningless in the fact that we already have our seed for the tournament, and it's not a conference game. So we get a chance to go out there and just see what we're made of.
Well, this game could be a really good tune-up for the Vikings heading into the WIA Regionals next week at Shell Lake. With only one game remaining on the regular season schedule after tonight, what are some things you'd like to see the Vikings polish up to be best prepared for those playoffs?
Well, I think number 1 is staying positive and just giving our best effort and executing and staying focused. Those are kind of the keys to me that I want to see. I want to see us be focused. If we're going to Vegas right now, Vegas gives us a 0% chance of winning tonight. So with that said, we're going to go out there and we're going to see if we can upset Vegas and upset the world here. So but we're also going to be realistic and try to play our best basketball. And I want to see people compete every possession. I want to see a focus.
Well, Coach Noel, good luck on tonight's game. Hopefully the Vikings can work hard and get a really positive result from tonight's game.
Thank you very much. Go Vikings.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner, with a look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."
Welcome back to Viking Pregame as we're getting ready to bring you tonight's non-conference game pitting the Colfax Vikings against the Wausau East Lumberjacks. Now, before we get into tonight's game, even though it's a non-conference game, it would be a good idea to take a look around the Dunn St. Croix Conference to see where things stand as the conference heads into its final week of play prior to the WIAA Regionals. Now, last Friday, the Dunn St. Croix saw games that include the Colfax Vikings being defeated by the Glenwood City Hilltoppers 76-44, while the Elkmound Mounders took care of the Elmwood Plum City Wolves 77-39, and the Spring Valley Cardinals were edged by the Durand, Arkansas Panthers 57-44, as well as the Boyceville Bulldogs besting the Mondovi Buffaloes 70-59. Now that leaves the Dunn St. Croix Conference standings as follows. Sitting alone in first place with a 12-1 record are the Durand, Arkansas Panthers. The Elkmound Mounders are in second, one game back with an 11-2 record. And now in third place at 10-3 are the Spring Valley Cardinals and 2 games out of first. In fourth place are the Boyceville Bulldogs with a 6-7 record, 6 games behind the leaders. In sixth place, we find the Colfax Vikings tied with the Glenwood City Hilltoppers with 5-8 records. In seventh place lies the Elmwood Plum City Wolves, while eighth place belongs to the Mondovi Buffaloes. Tonight, 2 Dunn St. Croix teams will journey out of the conference for some non-conference action, including the Vikings traveling to Wausau East to take on the Lumberjacks, and the Elkmound Mounders will host the Baldwin Woodville Blackhawks. Tonight, in addition to getting momentum built for the upcoming WIAA Regionals, the Vikings will try to right the ship following their disappointing loss to the Glenwood City Hilltoppers on Friday. The Lumberjacks and the Vikings faced each other last season in Colfax, with Wausau East coming out on top in that one 69-57. Now, so far this season, the Vikings are scoring 54 points per game while giving up 62. The Vikings will have their work cut out for them as the Lumberjacks are putting up 74 per game while allowing 61. So the stage is set for some exciting boys high school basketball, and we'll have all the action for you right here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. Now, in just a moment, we'll send it out to our broadcast crew at Wausau East School, where we'll bring you all the action of tonight's non-conference battle between the Colfax Vikings and the Wausau East Lumberjacks. That's all coming up next. You've been tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
You know you don't have to wear your PT gear anymore, right?
It's comfortable.
So how's civilian life treating you?
It's fine.
When I got out, I didn't want to admit that there was anything wrong because I felt like a failure. And then I realized, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I started talking to someone. Maybe you are fine, but if you're not, it's okay.
Thank you.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
You've been tuned to Viking Pregame with a look at today's Colfax Viking Boys game. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. Stay tuned, coming up next is live Colfax Viking Basketball. It happens to everyone eventually, your computer goes on the fritz. Fear not, Slayton's Technology Services can help. When your computer decides to not cooperate, it can be very frustrating. Let Slayton's Technology Services keep you from wanting to drive your computer right off a cliff. Slayton's Technology Services supports business of all sizes. They offer assistance with managed anti-malware, encrypted email, fast tech support, data backup, and recovery, and more. Call Slayton's Technology Services at 715-864-2833 and get the IT help you desire. Slayton's Technology Services is the official IT service for the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
In November of 2018, our daughter Jana passed away. The outpouring of support was unbelievable. Support that we received inspired us to start a foundation called the Jana Kelly Memorial Foundation. And through that foundation,
we've given back in a lot of different ways, through projects, through different other charities that we've supported. We like to help Humane Association, and the Ronald McDonald House is something that's very near and dear to us. We've also recently, this last year, we actually built a tiny house. It's really exciting to be able to give back in different ways.
To learn more or to help financially, find us on Facebook or www.janakelly.com.
Colfax Viking Boys Basketball is on the air.
He'll pass it out to Blake Johnson. He'll take the shot for three. Vikings.
The Northern Light Webcasting Network, along with NLWN2, is excited to bring you Colfax High School Boys Basketball.
Swinger down inside to Hoffman. He'll drive the right side of the lane, pop it up from 6. Good.
Join us as we follow the Vikings while they battle their way through the Dunn St. Croix Conference.
Charlo out to Ensminger for 3. He hits it!
And now out to the gym for today's Colfax Viking Basketball.
Good evening and welcome to Wausau East High School, where tonight the Colfax Vikings on the road to take on the Wausau East Lumberjacks. The Lumberjacks are second in the Wisconsin Valley Conference, a Division II school, and we'll tell you a little bit more about them in a little bit. Tonight's Colfax Viking Boys Basketball game is brought to you by the Colfax Animal Hospital. Let Drs. Austin and Nikki Pritchard and their friendly staff take care of your pet. C&K Construction, your concrete experts for the Chippewa Valley. Dairy State Bank, where they're banking on relationships. Midwest Environmental Consultants, soil testers for western Wisconsin. Anderson Bridges, who have been manufacturing prefabricated steel truss bridges since 1989. Slayton's Technology IT provider for the Northern Light Webcasting Network. Menominee Eye and Optical, with quality personalized care for you and your family. And Mom's Restaurant and Pub in Colfax, comfort food the way Mom used to make it. Be sure to thank these fine sponsors by doing business with them soon. I'm Jay Fall, here with Dan Petshaw, Chris Olson on the camera tonight, and our executive producer Rick Olson is here as well. And we will tell you more about the two teams involved in tonight's game in a minute. You're watching Colfax Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
Give yourself a little love this Valentine's Day. Open a health savings account or HSA to save tax-free dollars for out-of-pocket medical costs. Eyeglasses, braces, and acupuncture are just a few items allowed by the IRS. Dairy State Bank HSAs are serviced locally and work like a regular checking account. Pay by check or with a debit card and access your account through online or mobile banking. Give us a call to learn more. Dairy State Bank. Banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
Are your animals feeling a little under the weather? Give the nice folks at Colfax Animal Hospital a call. Austin and Nikki Pritchard are just what the doctor ordered. In fact, they are the doctors and they're ready to help. That's the Colfax Animal Hospital. Give them a call at 715-962-3380.
We're having fun at Wausau East. Colfax Vikings come into this game tied for 5th place with the team they lost to on Friday night, Glenwood City, with 5 wins and 8 losses. The Vikings overall have 8 wins and 14 losses. Tournament time is coming around. This Thursday night's game at home with Mondovi is going to be the last of the basketball broadcasts here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2. As far as the Division 4 tournament, the Colfax boys were seeded at number 10 in the Hudson Regional. So they will start tournament play a week from tomorrow night, Tuesday, February 27th, when they travel up to face the number 7 seed, Shell Lake. And the winner of that game will play at second seeded Cameron. As I mentioned, the Colfax boys lost to Glenwood City on Friday night, 76-44, in a tough game that hopefully they will bounce back tonight, but it will not be any easier. By the way, we should tell you that as far as the girls' tournament goes, for the Colfax Vikings, they are seeded number 5, so they will start playing at number 4 Grantsburg on Friday night. That game tips off at 7 o'clock. Well, the Wausau East Lumberjacks are second in the Wisconsin Valley Conference, and the Valley Conference has Division 1 and 2 schools in it. So they are second in the Wisconsin Valley with a record of 8-3. And the leader in that conference is Marshfield at 11-0, and they are 21-2 on the season. Now, something I noticed, I usually pull the schedule and results for each of the teams, and I pulled Wausau East, and there are 2 games that they won earlier in the season, scoring 101 points. And a couple in there with 91 and 93. And a 90 in there. They beat crosstown rival Wausau West 90-52. So this team has a lot of offensive power, and as we were talking before the game or along the sidelines, that they are going for a state run. In their seeding for the tournament, in the sectional that will be at Marshfield, Wausau East is the number 1 seed. They get a bye. And the area team, Menominee, is seeded number 10. They'll have to go up to Lakeland a week from tomorrow night to take on the 7 seed up there. So there's some tough basketball coming your way. And Dan, you know, when you come into, you know, a bigger school, taller guys, that sort of thing, what do you do to make it all work right?
Yes, I was looking at Wausau East. They shoot a lot inside. They don't shoot a lot of threes. You know, they have 6'6" Charlie Keeley, and they have 6'2" Jack Barthels, and then Caden Worth and Jim Garrett are 6 foot, and they work the ball inside, and let's see if Colfax can get in there and maybe get a couple fouls on Charlie Keeley right away, get him on the bench, and yeah, that's the main thing. I think Colfax has to make sure they take care of the interior. Eli Ralph is going to have his hands full here in the first half, and Logan Schwartz is definitely going to have to help him out.
It's a beautiful night in Wausau, Wisconsin. Good evening and welcome to Wausau East High School and tonight's boys basketball game, featuring the visiting Colfax Vikings and your host, the Wausau East Lumberjacks. Before introducing the starting lineups, I would like to make the following announcements. Restrooms and concessions are located in the main lobby. While the game is in progress, we ask that no one crosses the floor at either end of the court. Wausau East High School encourages good sportsmanship at all athletic events. Promotion of good sportsmanship should include a demonstration of respect for our opponents, coaches, spectators, and officials. We ask that you display only good sportsmanship while observing tonight's game. Thank you for your cooperation and respect for both teams. Now would you please stand, if able, to remove your hats as we honor our country and our flag with the playing of our national anthem. And now the starting lineups for the Colfax Vikings. Junior, number 4, Aiden Fisher.
5'11".
Senior, number 10, Elijah Ensminger.
5'9".
Senior, number 15, Mason Garrington.
5'10".
Senior, number 23, Blake Johnson.
6 foot.
Senior, number 33, Eli Ralph.
6'3".
The Vikings are coached by Mark Knoll, assisted by Tristan Hiddleston and Nick Pike. And now for your Wausau East Lumberjacks. Senior, number 0, Caden Worth. Junior, number 1, Jason Garrett. Senior, number 4, Isaac Roswanowski. Senior, number 5, Jack Bartle. And junior, number 35, Charlie Haley. The Wausau East Lumberjacks are coached by Dan Garrett, assisted by Steve Lasert and John Wilson.
Wausau East has some height. Caden Worth's a 6-foot senior. Jaden Garrett, a 6 foot. Isaac Rozadowski, 5'10". Jack Barthel, 6'2". Charlie Cayley, 6'6". So as we look on behind the scorers table at Wausau East, Vikings will be going from left to right as you look on. They are dressed in the road red with white numerals and trim. And East, of course, is in white uniforms with red numerals, black trim. Here we go from Wausau East. And the tip goes to Jack Barthels. Up on top, he'll fire it to Jaden Garrett. Back over to Rozadowski, down in the near corner to Barthels. Back out to Worth. Over on the far side to Rozadowski. Drives in toward the lane, pass off to Cayley. And then to Barthels. Out to Barthels, up from the lane. Shot falls short, gets his own rebound, puts it up and in. Wausau East 2, Colfax nothing. This is the first shot at offense for the Vikings. Johnson brings it up the floor, fires to Ensminger. Ensminger about halfway down near side. Fires it back out to Aiden Fisher. Fisher's going to drive up from 12. Shot falls short, and it's rebounded by Wausau East. Rozadowski, a pass to Barthels. Barthels gets his own rebound, tries to get it in to Cayley, and then outside the arch. That shot is missed, and it's rebounded by Colfax's Aiden Fisher. Fisher to Mason Yarrington. Yarrington back in the corner outside the arch. And we will have the first foul of the game. Charge to number 0 for Wausau East. That's Caden Worth. So Blake Johnson to throw it in front of the East bench. Finds Ensminger. Ensminger down underneath. Fires it out to Ralph. Ralph's shot missed. Pulled off the boards by Charlie Cayley of the Lumberjacks. Razadowski back to Garrett. Up on the left side, Jack Barthels down near corner to Worth. Worth drives it out. Barthels top of the key. Swishes it for 3. 5-0. Wausau East Lumberjacks. Blake Johnson out of the backcourt. Flips a pass to Ensminger. Back to Johnson. Free throw line right. Johnson drives into the lane. Give and go to Yarrington, or an attempt to. Didn't get there. Johnson's going to keep it to Ensminger. Ensminger out on the Lumberjacks' forehead near the center jump circle. Back out to Johnson from Yarrington. Johnson driving in, fires off in the corner. Yarrington for 3. Bounces off the front iron. It's rebounded by Razadowski of the Lumberjacks. Up the floor to Garrett, and he knocks it back inside, but it goes to Eli Ralph for the Vikings instead. And now it's tipped and caught by Caden Worth. Up the floor to a wide open Jaden Garrett. 7-0 Wausau East. Pass to Eli Ralph to Yarrington. About halfway down, he'll scoop it to Johnson. Johnson drives in, and the ball went off of the Lumberjacks' Jack Barthels. Colfax will keep it underneath their own basket. Blake Johnson looking to throw it in. Looking for Elijah Ensminger. And he ends up taken down by Caden Worth of Wausau East. But looks like they're just going to say the ball went out of bounds.
Nope,
second
foul.
Foul. Okay. He's got 2 of them already, Caden Worth. So underneath the basket, Johnson fires it in to Yarrington. Yarrington tries to get it back inside to Ralph. He does. Ralph up off the glass, doesn't go. Tip goes to Razadowski for East. Jesse Nebgetzik now in the ball game for East. Jaden Garrett up at the top of the key to Cayley. Over to Barthels, down underneath. They try to get it into Cayley, and Cayley is fouled on the way in. That is going to be charged to Aiden Fisher. That's the first Colfax foul, and of course Aiden's first of the game. 7-0 Wausau East leading Colfax. 14:36 remains in the first half. East to throw it in. It goes to Charlie Cayley. And back out in the corner to Jack Barthels, and he sinks a 3-pointer. 10-0 Lumberjacks. Ball goes into Elijah Ensminger. Ensminger out of the backcourt. Up high on the left wing. Still driving, dribbling with the ball. Out to Blake Johnson, top of the key. Then they go to Aiden Fisher with a give and go. He'll drive in, try to get into the lane, and it is going to be a player control foul on Aiden Fisher. So that's the second foul for him, and he's got both of Colfax fouls here in the first half. Jay Fall, Dan Petchow, Chris Olson on the camera, and executive producer Rick Olson with you from Wausau East High School. Non-conference game. Jaden Garrett pops it up from 8, missed. Rebound Charlie Cayley. Good on the putback. Colfax wants a timeout. 13:47 to go first half. Wausau East 12, Colfax 0. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2.
When you have that craving for a home-cooked meal the way Mom used to make it, rest assured, you can still get that meal by going to Mom's Restaurant and Pub in Colfax. Mom's is open daily, serving breakfast and lunch, and don't forget dinner on Friday nights with Mom's famous fish fry. The coffee is always hot, the breakfast is always delicious, and lunch will put a smile on your face and in your stomach. 225 Bremer Avenue, Colfax. Call 715-962-4617. That's Mom's Restaurant and Pub.
Join us on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2 this Thursday night as the Viking boys will take on the Mondovi Buffaloes in their final Dunn St. Croix Conference matchup of the season. Viking pregame begins at 6:40 with live play-by-play to follow. That's Viking Boys Basketball against Mondovi Thursday night on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. Ensminger gets the pass as he crosses the center jump circle. Lets one fly from three-point land, and the rebound picked up by Charlie Cayley. He gets it to Jaden Garrett inside to Isaac Rozadowski, and Isaac Rozadowski is fouled by Elijah Ensminger. That's Elijah's first and the third foul for the Vikings. That will put Isaac Rozadowski on the free throw line. He's a 5'10 senior. 12-0. Lumberjacks lead the Vikings. Make it 13-0. He will get one more. That one rolls out, and it's rebounded by Logan Schwartz of the Vikings. Blake Johnson fires it to Theo Hubdy now in the game. Hubdy to Ensminger in the near corner to Johnson. Blake Johnson drives the lane, pops it up from 13. And we're going to have a foul on the way in. That's going to be charged to Charlie Cayley of the Lumberjacks. That is his first foul and the Jacks' third of the first half. And it goes to number 20, Orion Nichols, who fires in a layup. And the Vikings are on the board at 13 minutes to go in the first half, 13-2. Near corner, Barthels misses the shot. It's rebounded by Theo Hubdy to Blake Johnson. That layup's good. 13-4, East leading Colfax. Lumberjacks bring it up the floor. Jesse Nebgetzek. Back in the middle to Jaden Garrett. He'll move it off to the right side, back to Rozadowski. Deep in the corner to Barthels. Then they get it inside to Nebgetzek. He misses, and it's rebounded by Ryan Nichols. Elijah Ensminger with the ball. Up top. Ensminger, give and go to Johnson. Johnson trying to get it in to Logan Schwartz. Goes out of bounds. East gets it back. Checking in for the Lumberjacks, Teddy Schlindwein. He's a 6'3 junior. Into Rozadowski to start things off for the Lumberjacks. Rozadowski out to Garrett. Into the big man, Charlie Cayley, who's outside, then back to Nebgetzek. In the corner, three-point shot by Rozadowski, missed. And it'll be over and back for East. So Wausau East turns it over to the Vikings. And they'll actually move the ball out into a little further into Colfax territory. And back to Ensminger. Ensminger driving on Rozadowski. And a scuffle for the ball. That foul's going to be called on Isaac Rozadowski. His first, and that's the fourth foul for Wausau East here in the first half. Inbounds goes to Elijah Ensminger. Ensminger Top of the key. Tries to make a move, tries to get it to Blake Johnson. He can't get it before it gets out of bounds. East will take over. Elijah Ensminger goes in. His wrist is all taped up, I see. Replacing him, Aiden Fisher.
Yeah, I'm not for sure why he has that taped.
Looks like he's trying to adjust it. Nepgetzik, give and go to Garrett. Garrett driving in left side. It gets too far under the basket. Rebounded by Hovde. Hovde brings it up the floor, fires it to Fisher. Fisher drives in, out in the corner to Nichols. Nichols out on top to Johnson. Johnson for three, drains it. 13-7, 11 minutes to go, first half. Lumberjacks still have the lead. Isaac Rozadowski into Nepgetzik, back over to Schlindwein. And his shot no good. It's rebounded by Theo Hovde of the Vikings. Aiden Fisher will bring it across the timeline. Make a handoff to Johnson, give it to Nichols instead. He'll come in from the corner. Fisher looking at one. He'll get it back to Johnson to set things up. Johnson out to Hovde. Back to Fisher. Give and go to Johnson. We're going to have a foul charged to Jesse Nepgetzik. And that's Nepgetzik's first foul. That is the first foul, or for him, fifth foul for East. 10:21 left first half. Colfax 7, Wausau East 13. Johnson. And we'll have a foul whistled on Teddy Schlindwein. That is the sixth foul for Wausau East. Johnson looking for a baseball pass, does get it to Nichols. Nichols hands it off to Johnson. Tough defense by Wausau East. Johnson goes up off the glass too hard, rebounded Cayley of East. To Nepgetzik for the Lumberjacks. Back out to Nepgetzik. To Jed Vander Sanden. And that pass went right behind him out of bounds. Colfax gets it back. Colfax bringing it up the floor. It's Hovde firing it over to Fisher. Give and go back to Hovde. He's out in the far corner. Wausau East applying a tough man-to-man. Blake Johnson now driving on Jaden Garrett. Johnson drives in, pops it over to Theo Hovde. He tries to put it up, and he gets a pass over to Logan Schwartz, who puts in a jumper right underneath. And it's 13-9. Wausau East still leads. We're approaching 9 minutes remaining in the first half. Jaden Garrett, front and center, fires it over to Schlindwein. And back to Cayley. And we had, looks like Jesse Nepgetzik may have got it in the face, but no fouls.
Yeah, I think it's a nice block by Ryan Nichols, and the ball just went back into his face.
So Wausau East to throw it in underneath their own basket. They get it into Jed Vander Sanden. He'll put it up and in. 15-9 Lumberjacks. Theo Hovde in the backcourt. Breaks it out fast, gets it to Schwartz. Schwartz turnaround jumper missed, rebounded by Nepgetzik. Up to Jaden Garrett. Garrett pops it up. Hangs up there a bit, doesn't go, and coming up with a loose ball, Ryan Nichols for the Vikings. Out to Aiden Fisher. Fisher driving in with a left-handed layup, missed. Hovde tried to put it up, and it's blocked by Wausau East. Nepgetzik got that, And he'll take it up the floor, gives it to Jaden Garrett. Garrett for three, missed. And the ball knocked over to Blake Johnson. Johnson going for a left side layup, missed. And Hovde gets back there to get the loose ball. Back up on top to Aiden Fisher. To Johnson. Johnson driving along the left side. Stops, free throw line extended left. Give and go to Hovde, then to Aiden Fisher. Fisher stops about 7 feet up, puts it up and in. Colfax in double figures now and trailing Wausau East only by 4, 15-11. 7:27 to go in the first half. So the Vikings keeping it, they're crawling back into this one, just a 4-point difference.
Yeah, good job. They kind of got through that lull at the beginning and got her down to 4.
7:27 left to go, first half. Time out on the floor. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
To get your lawn or garden to perform at attracting what you want, you first need to know what your soil is working with. That's where Midwest Environmental Consultants can help. Their soil testing service can give you a complete rundown on your soil's nutrition and health. They test for nitrogen levels, phosphorus, potash, micronutrients, minerals, pH, and organic matter. Let Midwest Environmental Consultants put you in control of your soil's health. Call Midwest Environmental Consultants at 608-468-2067. That's Midwest Environmental Consultants, serving Western Wisconsin.
Welcome back to Wausau East. The Lumberjacks started off on a 13-0 run. So Colfax, since then, has outscored the Lumberjacks 11-2. Jack Barthels is going to throw it in for the Lumberjacks on their end of the floor. Barthels get it into Caden Worth. Worth fires it over to Rozadowski, down underneath. Worth puts it up, misses, and it's rebounded by Eli Ralph. To Hovde, to Johnson. Johnson across the timeline, back to Fisher. Fisher free throw line left. Will drive in, off the glass, rolls off, missed, rebounded Jesse Nebgetzik. Nebgetzik up the floor with Johnson trying to guard him. They get it inside to Jed Vandersand, and he puts it up and is fouled on the way up. So he is going to go to the free throw line. That foul going to be charged to Blake Johnson. That is his first of the game. And the Colfax Vikings' fourth foul. 6:53 to go, first half. And it's now 16 for the Wausau East Lumberjacks and 11 for the Colfax Vikings. Jay Fald and Petchog, camera operator Chris Olson, and executive producer Rick Olson with you from East High School in Wausau. Second free throw bounces off, and Blake Johnson gets over there for the rebound. And I think they blew the horn a little early, or a little late, I should say. Now they're going to let Charlie Cayley in for East, and they're going to let Logan Schwartz in for Colfax. Now Colfax's, both of their big men in. Johnson into Hovde, stolen away by Rozadowski. He'll bring it out on top to Nebgetzik. Nebgetzik, number 3 for 3. 19-11, Lumberjacks out in front of Colfax. Out to Hovde. Hovde driving hard to Johnson. Johnson for 3. Bounces out big, rebounded by Worth. He quickly gets it to Cayley, and Cayley off the glass for a layup on the right side. Lumberjacks 21, Colfax 11. Blake Johnson up the floor for the Vikings. Heads down toward the far corner, fires it to Eli Ralph. Ralph is going to take a look, and he's going to end up giving it back to Johnson, who came all the way around. Johnson in the middle. Wausau East applying a man-to-man. Colfax fires it into Schwartz. Schwartz with a jumper underneath on the left side. 21-13. East leading Colfax. Nebgetzik down out to Cayley. Cayley tries a shot, miss, throws it back in, and it goes to Elijah Ensminger for Colfax. He gets it into Schwartz. Schwartz back to Ensminger. Ensminger up, bounces around, no good. Schwartz trying to get the rebound, and unfortunately ends up bouncing it outside the end line, and we have a timeout on the floor. 5:22 to go first half. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2.
Anderson Bridges, located in Colfax, Wisconsin, has been manufacturing prefabricated steel truss bridges since 1989. With hundreds of bridges supplied nationwide, we suspect you've crossed our path. It may have been on a pedestrian or bicycle bridge, or how about a snowmobile, ATV, or golf course bridge? Anderson Bridges is likely to have manufactured it. Founded in 1989, Anderson Bridges has been a family-owned company since its beginning and are proud to support the Colfax Vikings.
Join us on NLWN TV on April 1st, unless Mother Nature plays an April Fool's joke on us, as the Colfax Viking baseball team will open their 2024 season at home against the Mondovi Buffaloes. The bullpen show will begin at 4:40 with live play-by-play to follow. That's Viking baseball on April 1st, weather permitting, against Mondovi on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. East with the ball, Nebgetzik fires it to Worth. Free throw line right to Barthels. Barthels down to Charlie Cayley, the big man. Out to Rozadowski. Rozadowski up from 8. Good. Wausau East 23, Colfax 13. We're inside 5 minutes to go in the first half. Colfax boys wrap up their season Thursday night, their regular season, at home against Mondovi. See that one right here. Elijah Ensminger up top. Ensminger trying to get it to Hubdy. It's stolen away by Rozadowski, and we are going to have a jump ball. It's possession Vikings. So the Lady Vikings start tournament play on Tuesday night, I believe. No, Thursday night. No, next Friday night against Grantsburg, up at Grantsburg. Up in the far corner, that is Yarrington for 3 from free throw line, extended left. Driving in. For Wausau West, trying to get it is Rozadowski. Ball goes out of bounds. It's going back to Colfax. 4:18 left first half. Lumberjacks 23. Vikings 16. Theo Hubdy's going to throw it in for Colfax. And picked off by Wausau East. Jesse Nebgetzik now. Elijah Ensminger steals it away. Takes it to the other end for Colfax. Off the glass. Good. And the Vikings pulled it within 5. We're approaching 4 minutes to go in the first half. It's 23-18. And we're going to have a player control foul on Jaden Garrett of the Lumberjacks. That's his first. That is the 7th team foul.
Yeah, that should put him to the line, I think.
Yep, it will.
But it's not.
Well, because it was an offensive foul.
Okay.
Yeah. So Charlie Cayley out to Caden Worth, and now we're going to have a foul going back the other way to the boys in red. That's going to be charged to Theo Hubdy. That is his first and the 5th team foul for Colfax. Going off to the side, no bonus yet for the Lumberjacks. 3:56 left to go in the first half from Wausau. Jaden Garrett's going to throw it in for the Lumberjacks. Finds Barthels in the far corner. Down underneath to Cayley, goes up, puts it in on the left side. 25-18, Lumberjacks by 7. Ensminger on the end line fires it in to Hubdy. Hovde being guarded by Barthels. Hovde up the floor, fires it out in the corner to Ralph. Ralph, opposite side. Yarrington bounces off the back iron into the hands of Jaden Garrett. Up the floor to Caden Worth. Worth is not going to have his basket count, and he's going to get an offensive foul.
Yeah, I think that's 3 on him.
It is, yes. 8th foul for the Lumberjacks. So if they get a foul playing defense, Colfax will be on the line for 1 and 1.
Yeah, East hasn't shot a lot of threes so far. They're trying to work it inside. Colfax can keep that baseline covered. They'll stay in this.
So it is Hovde to Ensminger from the free throw line. Rolls off, rebounded Rozadowski of the Lumberjacks. Rozadowski back up the floor, fires off to his right to Garrett, down on the far corner to Cayley. And we are going to have a... Okay, it's going to be a foul charge to Logan Schwartz of the Vikings. That is the 6th foul of the half for Colfax, and Logan Schwartz's first. Pass fired up on top to Rozadowski, out to Nebgetzik. Nebgetzik to Garrett, over to Rozadowski. Rozadowski back in. Garrett near side, over the top, rebounded by Johnson. Approaching 3 minutes left in the first half, and the clock's not rolling. Now it is. 25-18, Wausau East. Into Schwartz. Schwartz loses it, gets it back, fires it into Johnson. Johnson goes up, fouled, so he'll get a basket and a free throw.
Yeah, good strong move by Blake Johnson. Had a guy all over him, gets the end one.
So that foul's going against Jaden Garrett. That's his second, the 9th team foul for the Lumberjacks. And Blake Johnson will try to finish off a three-point play here. And his free throw falls short, and Hovde tries to get the ball back in and tries to roll it off Cayley, but it doesn't work. 2:50 left, first half. Wausau East Lumberjacks 25, Colfax Vikings 20. Jaden Garrett out to Rozadowski, up to Nebgatzik. Nebgatzik three-pointer missed, rebounded by Cayley underneath, and he'll fire it back out to Schindwine, back out to Garrett. Garrett drives in, fires to Schindwine. Ball gets loose, picked up by Blake Johnson. Theo Hovde's going to bring it up for Colfax, crosses the timeline. Colfax, a very up-tempo game, and they seem to be doing okay with it. Johnson fires in to Hovde. Hovde goes up, bounces around, doesn't go. Rebounded by Charlie Cayley for the Lumberjacks. Up the floor to Schlindwine. Schlindwine back to Cayley. Cayley turned around from 7. Good. 27-20, Lumberjacks leading Colfax. 1:47 left in the first half. Hovde trying to get it over to Schwartz, and it went off the top of Charlie Cayley's foot. Eli Ralph checks back in for Schwartz. Couple of subs for East. And Blake Johnson fires it back to Ensminger. Ensminger dribbles it across center court. Center jump circle. Looks at it. Just inside the free throw lane. Rebounded by Schwartz. Schwartz, or Ralph, got a push as he was going up. He's going to the free throw line for 2. 1:25 left first half. Wausau East 27, Colfax 20 on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2. Jay Fall, Dan Petchow, Chris Olson on the camera, Rick Olson, executive producer, all here bringing you tonight's game. The Colfax boys will wrap up their regular season Thursday night back at home against the Mondovi Buffaloes. See it in person if you can. If not, it'll be right here on NLWN2 and the Northern Light Webcasting Network. Pregame starting about 6:45. And the first free throw missed. And the second one doesn't go either, but Theo Hubdy gets the rebound to Blake Johnson up to Elijah Ensminger. Ensminger pops it up from 6. His shot falls short, and it's rebounded by Jed Vandersanden of Wausau East. Isaac Rozadowski then back up to, and we'll have a reload down underneath by Jesse Nebgetzik, and he puts it in as he was fouled by Elijah Ensminger. That's the 10th foul for Colfax in the half. That's Elijah Ensminger's second foul. So East in the double bonus, first free throw, or the one free throw for Jesse Nebgetzik is good. We're approaching 1 minute remaining in the first half. Hubdy to Johnson. Johnson fires in the corner, up from Ensminger. Three-pointer bounces off, rebounded by Jesse Nebgetzik. Nebgetzik to Schlindwein. Back in the middle to Nebgetzik from Barthels. And that ball went off East, out of bounds. 44.6 seconds remain. A 10-point Wausau East Lumberjack lead. All right, I guess they're going to switch it. It's going to East. Teddy Schlindwein to throw it in for the Lumberjacks. Out to Nebgetzik. Back over to Schlindwein. Down inside it goes to Vandersanden. Missed, but his putback is good. Half a minute to go, first half. Hubdy across the center circle to Blake Johnson. And rebound pulled down by Nebgetzik. Nebgetzik out to Rozadowski. And top of the key, letting it go. And it looks like we're going to shoot for those fouls. That's going to go against Ensminger. That's his third. So the foul happened right as the buzzer sounded. And there's going to be 3 free throws awarded. He's outside the arch. First one, good. It's Jesse Nebgetzik. As halftime comes to an end, we'll review all the scoring for you. There's been quite a bit of it for the Lumberjacks, as well as the Vikings. It's now 34-20, Wausau East. And one free throw left for Jesse Nebgetzik. Before we go into halftime, he makes that one. So our halftime score, I guess they're going to put 7/10 of a second on the clock. Goes to Hubdy, and that's it. Our halftime score is Wausau East 35, Colfax 20. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
Time now for Viking Halftime, with today's Viking profile and other halftime entertainment. That's coming up right after this.
Hey, boss.
said I'm fine.
Me the babe, see you in the morning. With the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it.
You can talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
Time now for Viking Profile, where we take a closer look at one of the Colfax Viking players. And now, Viking Profile.
Today on Viking Profile, we're going to get to know Trey Larson, a freshman here at Colfax High School. And Trey, we know you play basketball, but are you involved in any other activities here at school?
I am. I do golf.
Okay, very good. You're looking forward to that one too, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, besides that, it's better weather when the golf rolls around than it is through the winter.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So when did you start playing basketball, and what kind of an experience has that been for you?
Well, I started playing in 3rd grade, and as soon as I started, I loved it. I just kept working to get where I am today.
So what's the most important thing that you've learned so far in basketball?
Sportsmanship and teamwork. You always want to be a good sport and a good teammate.
Okay, so when not playing basketball or you're not here at school, what are some other things that keep you interested or occupied?
I like to fish and hunt. I like to go up to my cabin, do a lot of stuff outdoors.
Okay, all right, just enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah.
All right. Rapid fire questions for you. You may have heard about these. Pie, ice cream, cake, or cookies?
Ice cream.
Which kind?
Mint chocolate chip.
Oh, okay. All right. Hot dogs, burger or brats?
Burger.
What do you want on that burger?
Just ketchup.
Just ketchup. Keep it simple.
Yep.
All right. Favorite color?
Red.
And is there a reason for that?
Not really, just one of my favorites.
And not because of school color or anything?
I mean, I guess, yeah.
Oh. All right. If you could have a superpower, what do you think it would be?
To fly.
Okay. So, Trey, if you have the ability to fly, you have to have a superhero name to go with that. So what's Trey's superhero name?
Ice Tray.
Ice Tray. Okay, I used to have some of those. You had to pull the lever to get the cubes out. And okay. Favorite NBA team?
Bucks.
All right, how about a college team?
Badgers.
All right. Is there a basketball player who has influenced the way you play your game? That could be anybody from the pros on down.
Steph Curry and Johnny Davis when he was with the Badgers.
Okay, and is there something about their game that caught your fancy?
Just their ability to shoot and drive is kind of what I model after them.
Okay, now we're talking with Trey Larson today on Viking Profile. Trey, what are your plans for after high school? I know you're only a freshman, so there's a lot of chance to change this.
Yeah, I don't really know yet. I still have a lot of time.
You do, but you're going to be surprised how fast that goes. How about a shout out to the family?
Shout out Mom, Dad, Evie, grandparents Pa, Nana, and Grammy Nunti.
All right, when people watch Viking games, what position do you play? Where are we going to find you on the floor?
Usually point guard, shooting guard. If you see a 3 go up, it's probably me.
Okay, we want to thank Trey Larson for joining us today on Viking Profile. Coming up next is more Viking Halftime.
You've been listening to Viking Profile. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcast Network.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school. My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
They both keep me motivated to go to school, and they see that if I do it, like they can do it too, you know? I feel that everything's possible.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
You've been tuned to Viking Halftime. Stay tuned. Coming up is second half action of today's game on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
What are you doing in there?
What's that?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Halftime at Wausau East High School. The Wausau East Lumberjacks lead the Colfax Vikings by a score of 35-20. Dan, let's take a look at the numbers.
Here's the scores right now for Wausau East. They're led by number 35, Charlie Cayley, and number 5, Jack Barthels. They have 8 points. Up here at the top, Jesse Knapp, because that has 9 points. Jaden Garrett has 2. Isaac Rozwadowski has 3. And Jed Vander Sanden has 5. For the Colfax Vikings, they're led right now by number 23, Blake Johnson. He has 7 points. Logan Schwartz has 4. Ryan Nichols has 2. Mason Arrington has 3. Elijah Ansminger has 2. And Aiden Fisher has 2. 35-20, Wausau East.
Vikings crawled back into this one after a 13-0 start by Wausau East. Join us on NLWN2 on Saturday, April 6th, as we're excited to bring you the first game ever for the Chippewa Valley Phoenix semi-pro football team. The Phoenix will open the 2024 season by taking on the Wilmer Mud Dogs in Wilmer, Minnesota. The pregame show, Phoenix Rising, will begin at 1:30 with live play-by-play to follow. The Chippewa Valley Phoenix football team, April 6th on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. 35-20 is the score. Wausau East coming back out onto the floor to shoot around a bit. And we will return with second half action. It's coming your way in a minute. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
C&K Construction is your source for high-quality concrete and construction work in the Chippewa Valley. Established in 2014, C&K Construction in Chippewa Falls is a leading concrete contractor proud to serve Eau Claire, Altoona, Menominee, and surrounding areas. Specializing in concrete construction, excavating, flatwork poured walls, and much more, they're right for all of your concrete needs. Call C&K Construction in Chippewa Falls at 715-559-1335.
Are your pooch's proportions putting on pounds? Or is your kitty's constitution constantly complaining?
Well, stop by and see the friendly folks at the Colfax Animal Hospital. Doctors Austin and Nikki Pritchard and their staff will be happy to help you get your family friend back on the road to healthy living. That's the Colfax Animal Hospital. Call them at 715-962-3380.
Let Menominee Eye and Optical help you see the world for the beautiful place it is. Doctors Nicholas and Marianne Comroe provide both comprehensive and emergency eye care for all, including pediatric and special needs patients. Whether it's examination for glasses to cataract and LASIK care, or diagnosis and management of macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, and so much more. In addition, Menominee Eye and Optical's experienced opticians will help guide you to the highest quality eye care for the best value. That's Menominee Eye and Optical, located at 520 Wilson Avenue in Menominee, where they specialize in quality, personalized care for you and your family.
Regular season winding down for the boys basketball teams. The tournament starts this week for the girls. The Colfax ladies, seeded number 5 in the Eau Claire North sectional, will be at number 4 Grantsburg on Friday night to start their tournament play. Colfax boys, seeded number 10, will play number 7 Shell Lake a week from tomorrow up at Shell Lake. Wausau East starts with the ball, moving the other way, of course, as we're in the second half. It's Jesse Nebgetzik, give and go to Jaden Garrett. Garrett up from the lane, drops it in. 37-20, the Lumberjacks. Ensminger and Fisher in the backcourt. They're being guarded by Garrett and Rozadowski. Blake Johnson out to Fisher. Fisher from the corner for 3, bounces off big. Jaden Garrett comes up with a rebound for the Lumberjacks. He'll fire it over to Nebgetzik. Back to Garrett. Down inside to Charlie Cayley. He goes up from 6 and puts it in. 39-20, Lumberjacks, 17 minutes left in the second half. Yerington gets the pass, gives it back to Johnson. Johnson out to Ensminger. Elijah Ensminger to Aiden Fisher. Gets it back to Ensminger, down inside to Johnson. His pass gets by Ralph, and picking it up for Wausau East and putting in the layup is Jaden Garrett. Yerington up the floor for the Vikings, outside the arch, gives it to Johnson, to Fisher. Fisher out to Ensminger, fires it to Ralph, into Johnson, up from 8, good. So it's 41-22, Vikings trail the Lumberjacks, 16-10 to go. Second half, Caden Worth with the ball. Worth to Garrett, inside to Cayley. Back outside, 3-point attempt missed, but the rebound by Jesse Nebgetzik gets his own. Put back by Jaden Garrett is good for a bucket. 43-22, Lumberjacks. Johnson in the backcourt to Ensminger. And Ensminger called for traveling. East gets the ball back. Jay Fall, Dan Petshaw, camera operator Chris Olson, and executive producer Rick Olson with you live from Wausau East High School on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. Inbounds throw goes into Caden Worth, who's in the lane, puts in a 5-footer. And now the Lumberjacks lead by 23. Johnson in the corner to Fisher, back to Johnson, trying to get it inside to Ralph. It gets tipped up over the top of the backboard, and that'll send it back. Well, actually it was tipped last by East, so Colfax is going to hang on to it. Final broadcast of the season of boys basketball is Thursday night when the Vikings are at home against Mondovi. Inbounds pass inside to Schwartz, and he'll put in the shot for 2. 45-24 as we approach 15 minutes remaining in the game. Wausau East with the lead. Charlie Cayley out to Jaden Garrett. Garrett for 3, missed, rebounded by Hovde. He'll fire a quick pass up to Aiden Fisher. Fisher, turnaround jumper, missed. Ball goes back to Jesse Nebgetzik, and he is going to try to jam it home and actually just hit the back iron with it. Theo Hovde out of the backcourt. Out on the left side to Fisher. Back inside to Johnson, to Yerington. Yerington out to Fisher. Fisher up from 10, rolls off, no good. Rebounded by East's Isaac Rozadowski. Back up the floor to Caden Worth. Worth goes up from 5, and he'll go off the glass and in. 47-24 Lumberjacks as we approach the 15-minute mark. A 23-point lead for Wausau East. Up the floor, it is Fisher. Fisher to Johnson. Johnson for 3 miss. Schwartz with a reload, and it's blocked. Ball gets up the floor to Jaden Garrett. Garrett back to, I think that was Rozadowski. And Colfax wants a timeout. 49-24, Wausau East leads Colfax, 13:52 to go. Second half. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
Give yourself a little love this Valentine's Day. Open a health savings account or HSA to save tax-free dollars for out-of-pocket medical costs. Eyeglasses, braces, and acupuncture are just a few items allowed by the IRS. Dairy State Bank HSAs are serviced locally and work like a regular checking account, paid by check or with a debit card, and access your account through online or mobile banking. Give us a call to learn more. Dairy State Bank. Banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
If your estate isn't looking quite estate-like, let Midwest Environmental Consultants landscape your estate right up to snuff with installation of retaining walls, brick patios, foundation planting beds, and so much more. Then they'll keep it that way with their expert lawn care service. Call Midwest Environmental Consultants at 608-468-2067. Let Midwest Environmental Consultants help make your estate the showplace of the neighborhood.
Welcome back to Wausau East. Lumberjacks 49, Colfax Vikings 24. 13:52 left to go in the second half. Blake Johnson's going to throw it in for the Vikings. Tosses it in to Hubdy, back to Johnson. And Garrett Nebgetzik, or Rozadowski, I should say, guarding them. Back to Johnson. Johnson along the left side. He traveled as he thought about making a pass and hung on to it. So Jesse Nebgetzik's going to throw it in to Jaden Garrett. Garrett being guarded by Theo Hubdy. Garrett to Nebgetzik. Out to Rozadowski. Back to Garrett. Outside the arch he looks, gives it back to Caden Worth. He's free throw line extended right. Inside to Charlie Cayley. Cayley trying to get it back into Worth, and it's picked off by the Vikings. Yarrington is going to drive it up the floor, and actually he is going to be fouled on the way up. That is going to be charged to Jesse Nebgetzik, his second foul, and that's the first one of the second half, so we have no free throws on that one. 13-11 remains in the second half. A 25-point lead for Wausau East. Bounces it in to Hubdy. Alley-oop to Fisher. Back to Hubdy in the near corner. Goes into a Ryan Nichols, and they leave Mason Yarrington open. He'll come inside the arch. Shot falls short, rebounded by Nebgetzik to Worth. Worth trying to feed Charlie Cayley, and it went right in between him and the rim. So Mason Yarrington's going to throw it in to Theo Hubdy. Yarrington to Fisher from Hubdy. Back over to Yarrington. Free throw line right. Yarrington looks at a three-pointer. Off to Hubdy. Back to Yarrington. Free throw line extended right. Bounced into Nichols. Nichols gets into the lane. Out to Hubdy. Back to Yarrington. High pass, but Hubdy brings it in. He tries to get it in to Logan Schwartz. And that one goes into the corner of this big field house. And it will go back to the Vikings. Looks like they run track in here. It looks like there's stripes around the edge for lanes. Inbounds, it goes into Logan Schwartz. And the foul is going to be charged to Charlie Cayley of Wausau East. Capacity for Wausau East Gym, 2,800. Out to Hovde. Hovde ends up putting it back to Rozadowski, and he feeds Jaden Garrett for the basket. 51-24 as we approach 12 minutes remaining. Fisher to Hovde. Over on the left side to Yarrington. Three-point attempt. Rolls off the rim. Fired up the floor. Blocked by Theo Hovde. But put in by Isaac Rozadowski on the putback. Free throw line right. Fisher out to Hovde. Inside to Schwartz. Schwartz trying to get the ball up and out of there. And the ball went out of bounds off the Lumberjacks. Going to have some substitutions now. Miles Casey is in the game. He's a sophomore, number 30, and it looks like Teddy Schlindwein back in. Out on top, Blake Johnson saves the ball. Going into the backcourt. To Hovde. Hovde in the corner to Johnson. Free throw line right. Hovde takes a shot for three. Rolls off the back iron, tipped. And coming up with a rebound, but stealing it away is Johnson. He's at the free throw line. Gives it to Schwartz, and then that one picked off by Schlindwein. Up the floor to Jaden Garrett. Tries a shot, missed, and he is fouled. That one is going to be charged to Logan Schwartz. So on the free throw line, Jaden Garrett on the free throw line for two. That's Schwartz's second foul. First free throw is good. And the Lumberjacks now lead by 30. 10:57 to go. Second half. And the second one by Garrett is good. Blake Johnson in the backcourt. Johnson across the timeline to Hovde. And ball goes out of bounds off Hovde. So he and Jaden Garrett just trade places, and we have a timeout on the floor. 10:49 to go, second half. It's Wausau East 55, Colfax 24. You're watching Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2.
The Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2 are excited to once again be your host for Colfax High School boys basketball throughout the 2023 through 2024 season.
This is what we came in for!
Our next game will be on Thursday, February 22nd, when the Vikings will host the Mondovi Buffaloes. Live coverage on the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service and on NLWN2 begins with Viking Pregame at 6:40 p.m. That's live Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2 on Thursday, February 22nd.
Welcome back to Wausau East. Join us on NLWN TV April 1st as the Colfax Viking baseball team will open their 2024 season at home against the Mondovi Buffaloes. The bullpen show will begin about 4:40 p.m. with live play-by-play to follow. That's Viking baseball, April 1st, weather permitting, against Mondovi on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. Jaden Garrett up the floor for Wausau East. Schlindwein gets the pass from him. He's being guarded by Orion Nichols, and Nichols takes a poke, gets the ball away, puts it up there, missed, and Schwartz tries to save it, and he ends up tossing it to Miles Casey, who gets it in to Jaden Garrett, who makes a three-pointer, and we now have a 34-point difference between Wausau East and Colfax. Ensminger, free throw line right. Out to Hubney, to Blake Johnson. Ensminger pops it up from 10. Shot falls short. Rebounded by Teddy Schlindwein. He'll give it to Jaden Garrett. And East slowing it down a bit. Fires it over to Schlindwein. To Barthels. Back to Schlindwein. To Garrett. Down on the right side to Casey. Back in the corner to Kay Lee. And Jaden Garrett. Three-pointer around the rim out. Rebounded by Eli Ralph. Ensminger to Nichols. Into Ralph. Ralph's shot missed. Rebounded by Charlie Cayley. And we have a timeout on the floor. 9:21 to go, second half. Wausau East 58, Colfax 24. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2.
NLWN TV and the Northern Light Webcasting Network are excited to take you out to the ballpark for Colfax Viking Baseball. Our next game will be on Monday, April 1st, when the Vikings host the Mondovi Buffaloes, weather permitting. Our coverage begins with the bullpen show where we'll warm you up for baseball action starting at 4:40 p.m. That's Colfax High School Baseball on Monday, April 1st.
Welcome back. Join us on NLWN2 on Saturday, April 6th, as we're excited to bring you the first game ever for the Chippewa Valley Phoenix semi-pro football team. The Phoenix will open the 2024 season by taking on the Wilmer Mud Dogs in Wilmer, Minnesota. The pregame show, Phoenix Rising, will begin at 1:30 with live play-by-play to follow. That's Chippewa Valley Phoenix semi-pro football, April 6th on NLWN2 and the Northern Light Webcasting Network. Driving up the floor, Jaden Garrett tries to get a pass into Jed Vandersanden, and it goes out of bounds. Colfax will get it back. 9:12 to go, second half, 58-24. Vikings are trailing. Out to Ensminger. To Johnson. Johnson up, doesn't go. Rebounded by Schlindwein. Up the floor to an open Jack Barthels, and he puts in a layup. 60-24, Wausau East. Blake Johnson. Top of the key out to Elijah Ensminger. Gets the pass back out on top, rolls it over to Theo Hubney. Hubney three-pointer, rolls out. Trying to get the rebound is Ralph. Does get it, puts it up, rolls off again. Hubney gets the ball. Ralph reloads. That doesn't go. Ralph tries it again. That one rolls out. Got about a half a dozen attempts in there.
Yeah, good battle with Ralph under there. He's stuck with it. He can get to the line.
That's Jaden Garrett's third foul. It's the first foul of the half for Wausau East. So Eli Ralph on the line makes the first. And now Aiden Fisher comes back in for Theo Hubney for the Vikings. And that free throw good. Jaden Garrett brings it up for East. East to Schlindwein. And it's picked off by Blake Johnson. Johnson drives to the top of the key, out to Orion Nichols, back to Johnson. Johnson driving left side of the lane, fires into Ralph. Ralph's shot is blocked from behind. Schlindwein to Garrett. Schlindwein to Jack Barthels. Barthels over the top into the hands of Orion Nichols on the missed shot. Ensminger out to Blake Johnson. Johnson over on the far side, looking for some lane, and then we're going to have a foul charge to Miles Casey going after the ball. And that is Casey's first foul, but there are 4 fouls on the Lumberjacks this half and 1 for Colfax. 7:20 remaining second half. So Blake Johnson's going to throw it into Aiden Fisher. Fisher between the jump circle and the key, tries to get it into Nichols, picked off by East, then it's stolen back by Yarrington. He gets it back from Schwartz. Yarrington fires it inside to Nichols. Nichols goes up. Shot doesn't go, rebounded by East. Schlindwein out to Garrett. Schlindwein, three-pointer, swishes it through. 63-26, Lumberjacks. And so Colfax will get it back. And we have a timeout called by Mark Knoll and the Vikings. 6:40 left, second half. Wausau East 63, Colfax 26. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2.
The Phoenix are rising. NLWN2 and the Northern Light Webcasting Network are excited to be your home for Chippewa Valley Phoenix semi-pro football. Our first game will be on April 6th when the Phoenix travel to Wilmer, Minnesota to face the Wilmer Mud Dogs. Follow the Phoenix as they battle their way through the Northern Lights Football League on the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service and NLWN2. That's exciting Chippewa Valley Phoenix football beginning on April 6th.
Join us on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLW2 this Thursday night as the Viking boys will take on the Mondovi Buffaloes in their final regular season and Dunn St. Croix Conference matchup. Viking pregame begins at 6:40 with live play-by-play to follow. That's Viking boys basketball. Thursday night against Mondovi, the final Colfax basketball broadcast of the season here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. Aiden Fisher is going to toss it in. Both teams lined up along the end line. They get it into Schwartz. Schwartz bounces it into Johnson. Johnson flips it out to Yarrington. Inside to Schwartz. Schwartz gets a little push as he makes the basket. So it's 63-28, Wausau East. Had a 50-50 chance, and I picked the wrong one.
Yeah, you got a little...
Directionally challenged. And that free throw missed, but it's tipped out. Blake Johnson will put it up. That one missed, and it's rebounded by Jet Vandersanden. He'll get it to Jayden Garrett. Garrett inside to Cayley. Back out in the corner for three. Draining it, number 30, Miles Casey, a 5'10 sophomore. 6 minutes to go in a ball game, 66-28 Wausau East. And it's Fisher out on top to Yarrington. Johnson to Yarrington, into Nichols. Nichols up from 8, bounces off the back iron. Schwartz gets a paw and gets the rebound. Johnson for 3, around the rim, out, rebounded by Schlindwein. Out to Garrett. Inside to Cayley. Ball loose, looking at one, was Casey. Puts it up, missed, rebounded by Orion Nichols. He gets it to Mason Yarrington for Colfax. Yarrington trying to get it to Orion Nichols. He gets it. Nichols goes up, puts in the shot, and he is going to draw 2 free throws. As there was a foul on that one. That one is going to be charged to Jed Vandersanden. That is his third. Almost 5 minutes to go in the second half. And Ryan Nichols going to shoot for Colfax. Wausau East Lumberjacks 66, Colfax Vikings 28. And the free throw good. 66-29. Garrett to Darius Yanis. Inside to Robbie Angelui. And he is fouled by Mason Yarrington. So Robbie Angioli will get 2 free throws. First one, good. 67-29, Lumberjacks out in front of the Vikings. And the second rolls out, and it's rebounded by Schwartz. Schwartz to Yarrington. Yarrington out in the corner, and when he caught that ball, Trey Larson had his foot on the end line. Going back to Wausau East, leading by 38, 4:35 to go in the ball game. Top of the key shot by Davis Winter. Bounces out. Teddy Schlindwein gets the rebound, gives it back to Winter. Winter out to Angioli. And a three-point shot by Schlindwein bounces off, but it's rebounded by Winter. Going up is Angioli, and he draws a foul from the Vikings. And that one's going to be charged to Trey Larson. That's his first. It's only the third foul of the half for the Vikings. Robbie Angioli, a 6'6" sophomore, misses the first one. He will get a second. And Julie, that one rolls off as well. And Logan Schwartz comes up with it for Colfax. Gives it to Aiden Fisher. Fisher brings it up the floor. And we're going to have a foul called on Jack Barthels. Nope, sorry, that's against Teddy Schlindwein. That's his second. Just over 4 minutes remaining in tonight's game as Aiden Fisher on the free throw line for 2 makes the first. 67-30 is the score. Colfax in the bonus. They'll also get the ball on the next jump ball, should there be one. 67-31, Lumberjacks leading the Vikings. Give and go pass to Miles Casey, trying to steal a pass over on the other side was Aiden Fisher, but it goes back to Winter. Out on the left side to Angioli. Angioli to Yanez. Back over to Winter. To Miles Casey. Casey pops it up from the lane, missed, rebounded by Ryan Nichols. Nichols up the floor for the Vikings. Nichols sends it up, and we're going to have a foul charge to East. Miles Casey. That's his second. That sends Ryan Nichols to the free throw line. Colfax boys wrap up their regular season at home Thursday night against Mondovi. First free throw missed. You can see it right here. Pregame about 6:45, and the play-by-play to follow here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2. Nichols' second free throw. Rolls around, goes out, rebounded by Davis Winter. Winter to Casey. Back to Winter. Moving on the left side now, taking it over to the right, give and go to Anjuli. Back to Yanis. Yanis goes in, takes a shot and missed. Ball goes back up and in for Robbie Anjuli. Under 3 minutes left in the game. Lumberjacks 69, Vikings 31. Yarrington, free throw line extended right. Rebounded by Robbie Anjuli. Pass to Winter, out to Casey. He looked at one, fires it over to Giannis. To Winter, down in the far corner to Anjuli. Casey, top of the key. Out to Robbie Anjuli, to Giannis. And ball goes out of bounds off East. Colfax will get it back. There were a couple of times earlier in the season where this Wausau East Lumberjacks team scored 101 points in wins against opponents and a couple of games of 90 to 100. So for Colfax to keep it within what they have now is pretty impressive. Across the timeline, out to Trey Larson. Larson's three-pointer missed. It's rebounded by Davis Winter. Winter to Orion Eisen now in the game. Charlie Segan also in. Robbie Anjuli over on the far side. To Yanis. Yanis being guarded by Yarrington, out to Winter. To Charlie Segan. Going into Davis Winter. Winter drives in, passes out in the corner to Anjuli, and he hits a three-pointer. 1:35 left. Lumberjacks 72, Vikings 31. Orion Nichols driving in for Colfax. Pops it up and is fouled. Colfax Viking girls start playoffs Friday night up in Grantsburg. First tournament game for the boys is coming up a week from tomorrow night. They go up to Shell Lake Tuesday, February 27th. First free throw, no good. Orion Nichols to shoot another one. Sorry, that was good, and now that one is not good. Eli Ralph, or check that, that's Brock Messman, 33 white. Darius Yanis gets the pass. Hands it off to Eisen. Eisen to Anjuli. And they must have stepped on the sidelines and going back to Colfax. We have running time now. There's 22 seconds remaining. Grant Palowitz with the ball. Bounces it in, trying to get it into Charlie Charbonneau. And there's a tussle on the floor. And that's probably going to be it as we have running time. And that's the end of the ball game. So the Colfax Vikings drop their game to the Wausau East Lumberjacks. The final score, 72-31. That makes Colfax's overall record on the season 8-15. This was a non-conference game. And Wausau East goes up to 17-6 for the season, and they stretch their winning streak to 4. So we invite you to stay tuned for the Viking postgame show. That is coming your way next. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
You have been tuned to Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. This copyrighted production of the Northern Light Webcasting Network and Colfax High School is intended for the enjoyment of the viewing and listening audience. Any broadcast, rebroadcast, or reproduction in part or in whole in any form without the express written consent of the Northern Light Webcasting Network LLC and Colfax High School is prohibited. Stay tuned. Coming up next is Viking Postgame with a look back at today's game.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Time now for Viking Postgame, a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking Boys game. And now, Viking Postgame.
Welcome back to Wausau East. Welcome back to Wausau East High School, where the Colfax Viking Boys have just been defeated by the Wausau East Lumberjacks. The final score was 72-31. The Lumberjack JV team won 66-34, so scores were fairly close. The Lumberjacks started out 13-0 to start the game, but then got back in it the first half and trailed at halftime 35-20. But the Lumberjacks scored 37 points in the second half compared to Colfax's 11. And there is your final, 72-31. Dan, let's take a look at the numbers here.
Yeah, here's the scores for Wausau East tonight. Kidenworth had 4. Jaden Garrett had 14. We had Nap Gezik with 9. We had Roz Wadowski with 7. We had Barthels with 10. We had Anjuli with 6. Schlindwein had a 3. Kesey had 3. Vandersanden had 5. And Charlie Cayley had 10. For the Vikings, they're led tonight by number 23, Blake Johnson. He had 9 points. Logan Schwartz had 8. We had Eli Ralph with 2. We had Ryan Nichols with 4. Mason Arrington had 3. Ensminger had 2. And Aiden Fisher had 4. 72-31, Wausau East.
So the Viking boys now with 8 wins and 15 losses. They will wrap up their regular season at home at Colfax Thursday night. So if you can be there, let's fill up the gym for the regular season finale and conference season finale against the Mondovi Buffaloes. You can't be there? Our pregame show will get underway about 6:45, and the live play-by-play action will follow that here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. As far as the tournament goes, once again, the Colfax girls will start the tournament Friday night. They are seeded number 5. They go up to play number 4 Grantsburg in the Eau Claire North sectional. The boys, as far as their tournament goes, gets underway a week from tomorrow. They are the number 10 seed. They'll go up and face number 7 Shell Lake up there in the Eau Claire North sectional. So we thank you for joining us tonight here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. For executive producer Rick Olson, camera operator Chris Olson, and Dan Petshaw, I'm Jay Fall. Thanks a lot for joining us. Good night.
You've been listening to Viking Postgame, a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking Boys game. You can catch Colfax Vikings games by tuning in to any of the Northern Light Webcasting Network outlets. This has been a production of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.